Hey there,
Hi,
seventh graders.
Hi, parents. I'm Miss Clough, and I'm here with Mrs. Palmer, and we're so excited that you are here with us tonight.
Welcome to Back to School Night and the 2020-2021 school year.
Awesome. So Mrs. Palmer and I actually started teaching together back at Parkview Middle School. And then we were fortunate enough to come over here and be founding teachers here at Competitive Edge. And we've been working here together collaboratively for about 10 years.
Yeah, we have over 30 years of combined teaching experience together. We both have our master's degrees, but that's not as important as keeping open communication with you, our parents, and our students. So make sure that you email us at any time if you have questions or concerns. Really, much rather get things taken care of before they get out of control and cause stress to people that don't need the stress at home. Yeah. We were both born and raised here in the Yucaipa-Calamasa area.
Yes.
Lived here our whole lives.
Yes.
And so some of you are going to know us from the past, or your siblings might know us from the past. And hopefully it's all good news and things that we want you to hear about us.
All good. All good.
All right.
All right. And so this is our contact information page. And what I want you to notice, though, for the links there with our email addresses, that between our first and our last name, there is an underscore. That hyperlink there is covering up that underscore. And then there's also the codes for you to sign up for Remind. And it's super important that you do sign up for Remind. At least one parent and the student should be signed up for Remind, because this is where we do a lot of our communicating. Is there anything you want to add to that, Palmer?
Just I'll be sending out like agendas every day that we have class. So on the days when your kid has class, either Monday, Tuesday, look at the Monday agenda, or Thursday, Friday, look at the Thursday agenda, and there'll be clear information there on what the kid was supposed to do for the day. And you could even just pull that up on your phone and say, hey, did you do your read works, and did you do your common lit reading today? And if you get to the point where you really need to check it, you can have them actually pull it up on the computer and show you those things. Hopefully you'll see after the first couple of weeks that they're doing what they say they're doing. All right, so this is some of our technology information here. These are all the things that you want to make sure that you're signed up for, or that you have access to, you understand how to get to these things. The first one is Remind, and those codes were on the last slide. Mine I know is at Palmer-ish, ISH at the end. And Clough, do you remember yours?
Yes, it's right here, at Clough20, at Clough20. And it's great. Some of you have already signed up for our classes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally awesome. And then those email addresses, like Ms. Clough mentioned, with the underscore in the middle between our first name and our last name, the ending is the same as your students for their email address for school. It's just at ycjusd.us. So your student can always tell you the ending if for some reason you don't know the ending part there. Aries and the Aries app, that is the grading information. So that's how you can see which assignments your student has, what their grade was on it, if they have anything missing. And pretty much I think Ms. Clough and I are going to be going week by week. We don't want to get where we're redoing work from weeks past. So we're going to try to keep everything current, or the week just 1 week past. So like they were absent on Wednesday, they should have their work done by the Monday after the Wednesday. So most Mondays, it'll be all the work from that week before that's due on Monday. That's when we're going to put the grades in the grade book, and we'll be checking to make sure that everything's accounted for. So if you see something from the week, like say on Saturday, you notice that something isn't in there for your student, that would be a good time on the weekend to pull your kid over and say, hey, where's this? And then if you have it, have them send an email to Ms. Clough or I saying, hey, I did turn this in. Can you please check it? And then we'll add it. But if they come to us like a week or two after that, we can't go back and keep grading 75 assignments times 2 classes for 2 weeks past. It just gets crazy. And that's how things drop through the cracks. So you want to make sure you have everything done within that week. And if you're going to be absent, if you just give us a heads up by email or by remind message, we'll tell you what you need to do to like get caught up or get ahead for that week. The next thing, oh, sorry, Cliff.
Oh, and so this is what it'll look like, the Aries portal for students and parents to log in. I just wanted to make sure. And so these are hyperlinks here in this PowerPoint, which I will post this in our Seeka website classroom pages. And I believe both of us are going to post it in our Google Classroom so that you can look at this later.
Yeah, so if you get the Aries app on your phone, it's a free app. You can see your students' information there if you log in with your email and your password there for Aries. Also, if you go on the computer and go to Aries, when you log in, if you go to the top right-hand corner and click on your name, a little drop-down box will pop down, and the very first one is going to say Parent Notifications. If you click on that, you can actually set it up so that once a week, whatever day of the week you want, maybe say Friday, because you're going to pull your kid over on the weekend and have them tell you what's missing and all that. Maybe Fridays at 4, because you know that's when you get off work on Fridays, and that's when you want to attack checking for missing work. So you click on that Parent Notifications right underneath your name. The drop down, click on that Parent Notifications. When you click on that, it'll ask you what day of the week, what time you want your notification emailed to you. And then every week, it'll mail you an update of your kid's grade. And you can see all the things that are missing, or go in then to the area, like go into the live Aries and see if it's updated yet. Because it could be that it sent you the email, but then after that, I updated that assignment. So you might have to check on Aries to make sure nothing was updated in the in-between time, between you getting the email and you know, you calling to say something's missing. Just make sure that it really is still missing. So Aries and Aries app, very, very handy. You can also see attendance and things like that on there if you want to. And as your kids go into high school, that is going to be key for you. And I would say those once a week notifications as a high school parent. I know I have a senior this year. I loved it. It was like every week, it just sent me her stuff. It would tell me what her grades were in all her classes, how many missing assignments she had. And I was able at that point to look at that and go, okay, that's 10 missing assignments. I need to get on her this weekend. We need to look through this. Or I could look and go, oh, she has an A and she has 1 missing assignment. Okay, it's not really anything I should be worried about. I can let her handle herself. And then it was less work for me as a parent, which, you know, we can always use less work, right?
Absolutely.
So Aries app, super important. And then the Seeka website, we both have school like class pages. If you go to the Seeka website and then click on staff listing, and then just look for any teacher at our school by their last name, they all have websites. You can click on our name and it'll bring up our website, and then you can go into that and see if there's any information there, maybe like a remind code or a Google Classroom page or something like that that you want to get to. You can usually find it that way as well.
Right.
Google Classroom, Ms. Clough and I are both going to run all of our assignments through Google Classroom. So it's a good way for your student just to go to the classroom. They can click on the Meet link that's at the top of the page so they can join our class for the day or for the hour, whatever time they have us. And they can also see all their assignments there, and we're both setting them up by week. So like we'll put that week's work all in one section there. So if they want to go back and fix something, like say on Friday from Tuesday or something, they could still do that, and they would see that whole week right there in one chunk. But then once that week has passed, and it's like 2 weeks in the past, remember, because we're only going to take the week before until the Monday, then you'll know you don't even have to look at that anymore. It's gone out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to worry about scrolling down on that Google Classroom page any further. If you want to check those out, if you just go to google.com and then, or even I think you just put Google Classroom, it'll come up. Just make sure your student is logged in with their school login information at the time. And then you just do add class on Google Classroom. And then it'll ask you for a code. Those codes are listed right here on this screen. They're also linked on our website pages. Or you could always even send us a remind message and just say, hey, what was that class code again? And we'll send it back to you. But you can go on those classes right now. Actually, it would be great to go on those. And then clever.com, I'm going to have Ms. Clough talk about that one because she's just more familiar with clever.com than I am.
And just one more thing on the Google Classroom. Mine is already loaded with all your students. They're already in there because I set it up through Aries. So they're already in there. There's no one should have to hit the join button for my class. For clever.com, this is a neat place where I will have students go there to log in, and they log in with their username and password that they use for just about everything, which is usually their school email account, and then their password is usually their 10-digit code. And it's just a place where all of the little programs or whatnot are put in like app form, like you would have on your phone. And they just, if they want to go to the math textbook, they would click on Big Ideas Math, and it would take them right to the Big Ideas Math web page, and they would already be locked and loaded and ready to join the class. They shouldn't have to put any passwords in or anything. So it's kind of Clever is a clever place to keep all these places that we visit often in one place. So I really like it. So I'll have Kahoot there, ck12.org, which we'll use for science sometimes, Big Ideas Math. They have Newsella, which I know some of the teachers use that as well. I think Mrs. Palmer uses that. Yeah. So it's just kind of a neat little portal where the kids only have to log in one time, and then they are set for all their other classes. At least that's the idea behind Clever. And then Mrs. Palmer already touched on the late work policy. We really, we really aren't doing a lot with the late work, and we especially don't do extra credit. My philosophy has always been, or what I've seen in the past, is that kids who usually ask for the extra credit already have A's, or they're the kids that are failing and haven't done the credit. So I always tell them, get the credit done. So that's kind of my philosophy behind not having extra credit. And we really want to work on kids getting work turned in on time. So that's why we're giving them the weekend to get that work they may have been behind on during the week done, and make sure it's turned in by Monday. We are doing this distance learning. There's going to be a lot of going online. And so we just want everyone to know what our expectations are for when you're online. We want everyone to be on time, okay? Maybe even logging into class a minute or two early. We want to make sure that during the presentation, their camera's on and that they're wearing appropriate clothing. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be Sika uniform, but it should be a very appropriate t-shirt, shorts, pants, okay? Please no pajamas. And always when you enter the meeting, put yourself on mute, okay? Because it can get overwhelming when there's 26 people in one Google Meet. So it's important that we always start by putting ourselves on mute and our cameras on. So try also to be in a quiet place. Find a quiet place to set up your desk. It may be your bedroom. It may be out in the kitchen, in a den, just somewhere quiet where you know nobody's going to bother you while you're on your meet. Within the meet, it's good to be focused, attentive, participate, okay? Participate and be respectful of others. There is a chat bar in there, but we want to use the chat responsibly, okay? Only asking school questions and things like that. And when you come online, please make sure that you communicate well, you speak clearly. And one other thing on here, something very important, is to be prepared. Make sure that your computer is charged and ready to go for the day, or at least that you have your power cord ready to plug in just in case. Okay. And I know with technology, there's always something, right, Palmer? There's always
something
at some point. So one of the things, we just need to be patient with each other. Okay. So to go along with these online expectations, we have this little video that we would like to share with you that we think you might enjoy.
It's really short.
I don't know why it didn't play.
Maybe go back and try it one more time. Sometimes you just have to reload things, you know, with technology. All these technology glitches, that's what happens. It's just life.
That's what I'm having right now.
Flexible, roll with it. You know what? Don't get panicked or freaked out. Just take a deep breath, email the teacher, and we'll take care of it as soon as we check our email the next morning or what have you. If it's in the daytime, we'll get back to you probably before 4 or 5. And then after that, we have to turn our stuff off.
Here we go.
So cute.
Would you like something to eat?
No, thank you. I'm doing my schoolwork.
Here is your child's schedule for the week.
For middle school.
For middle school. And I would say, I would call this maybe like a modified block schedule.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mrs. Palmer.
I would agree. So every day at 8:45, Mr. Bede's going to do Pledge of Allegiance and morning announcements. And I'm assuming he's going to put that out on Remind, like a link on Remind that you just click on and it takes you right into that video or that session. And then after that, like probably middle school probably lasts about 10 minutes or so. Then they'll have like about 5 to 10 minutes right after they get started with all the announcements and such to go use the restroom, get a drink of water, cup of coffee for those of you that let your kids have coffee in the morning, whatever they need to kind of get them ready for the day. And then at 9 o'clock, they're going to go to their first period class, their first period block. Essentially, it's 40 minutes or 50 minutes there. I don't anticipate myself being online for that entire 50 minutes. If we are, it might be like, you know, I say hi and give them directions and then tell them to go do something and just mute themselves and then come back at the end of the class session so that I can see who did what and where we're at. And then that way too, if kids have questions, they can just, you know, pop back on with their microphone not muted and ask that question they have about whatever it is they're doing. So they'll go to first period. Then they'll have a little break. Then they'll go to second period, little break, third period, little break, and then fourth period, which is their elective class. And you'll notice that one's only a half an hour and it meets almost every day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So they'll go to their elective for half an hour. So that'll be like yearbook or extra conditioning with Mr. Hurst, or Grizzly News with Ms. Clough, or Web with Mrs. Palmer. So actually, I shouldn't say Web with Mrs. Palmer. Web with Mrs. Palmer is for 8th graders, so I got that messed up. But all the other classes are 6th through 8th. And then they'll go to lunch. And then after that, after lunch, if they had questions or they need, or you need to meet with us one-on-one, that's when teachers are going to have office hours. We'll be at our Meet link, essentially. If you go to our Google Classroom and click on the Meet link in the top left-hand corner, you can go right in there, and Miss Clough and I will be there doing our work, whatever, sitting around emailing parents and such, and you can just say, hey, this is Mrs. Smith. I have a question about what happened today, or how does he do this or that, and you can connect with us. And that's really nice because that gives you an hour every day between 1 and 2. Maybe it's your work lunch or something like that, where you can pop in and ask those questions from Miss Clough and I live, so you don't have to do the email thing or the remind thing. Sometimes there are questions that are much easier to ask in person. You can get them done really quick, but when you try to type them out, I've noticed myself with some questions, or on email or on remind, it just like gets more complicated than it needs to be. So make sure you take advantage of that live office hour help if you have a question. So then you'll notice Tuesday is periods 5, 6, 7, and then 4 again, just like Monday. So essentially, the classes all rotate there, Monday, Tuesday, through all the classes. Then on Wednesday, the schedule, essentially the way I look at it is like, if you or your student remember last year, on Fridays, we had a short day, a minimum day, and it was blocks for the 3 blocks. And it's just like the schedule that's on Wednesday here. It's just that used to be our Friday schedule. The district wanted teachers to be able to have that on Wednesday instead, so that they could have more, I don't know, like collaboration in some way. I don't know exactly why they wanted us to do this, but basically the district told us, you're doing this on Wednesday. So it's kind of weird and confusing, but basically Friday is just on Wednesday. And if you explain that to your student, after having been a 6th grader last year, they'll totally understand what you mean. If you say your old Friday block schedule is moving to Wednesday, they'll get it. And you'll notice there's a screen-free independent study hour in there, or a half hour in there, right before lunch. So if they need time just to get caught up on work and such, they can use that time there to get caught up. And then Thursday, Friday, same thing, same rotation as Monday through and Tuesday. Go through all 7 classes in the 2 days. So the question that I'm getting from parents already is like, how do I go to period 1? Like, how do I know what is period 1? And then how do I get there? So once I figure out what it is, how do I join? So what your student would do essentially is pull up their schedule on Aries. It'll say all their classes there. And then if you look to the right, you'll see add a website for that teacher, and you just click on that, and that will take you to Ms. Clough or I's Google Classroom. And then on the Google Classroom, there's that little Meet link up in the top left-hand corner. They click on the Meet link, and that takes you to class. So essentially, if they just go to their schedule and click on the link that goes with that first period class, it'll take you there. And then second period, they'll just hang up from their second period class. They'll go back to their schedule, click on the second period link. And so it'll be fairly easy once you get in there. If you have issues with this, don't stress about it. It's okay. We know it's going to take like a week, probably, or a week and a half for everyone to figure out how to, navigate this. Send us an email. We can set up an office hours online appointment with you, and we can walk you through it. We can I have a daughter here at Sika in 8th grade, and I can pull up her schedule and show you exactly what it looks like and what to click on and all of that. So just take a deep breath. It's technology. As you've seen, Ms. Clough and I already had issues just with this presentation. It happens. Deep breath. It's going to be okay. And I'll just email the teacher, hey,
it's going to be okay.
Can I get an appointment for 1:30 on Tuesday to talk to you about how to get my kid to class? And then we'll tell you yes, no, whatever, we'll work it out, and then we can talk to you. And yeah, no worries.
Perfect.
Deep breath.
Perfect.
Sorry, I talk too much.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. So basically what this slide is saying that Mrs. Palmer and I we value learning over a grade per se. And what seems to happen is middle school parents, once their child gets to 7th grade, 8th grade, they tend to release the reins a little bit on their child. And that's okay, because you're trying to let them become a young adult. Okay. So this is where I say it's okay to fail. Let them make their mistakes in middle school and don't rush to save them right away. Let them try and figure it out. And I think middle school is the best training ground for this before they get into high school and eventually college. Let them feel what, if they need to feel this, let them feel what an F feels like. And our consequence for them is that poor grade. And then you have whatever your consequence for them is at home. And then they go, ooh, I didn't like that. I didn't like how that felt. I didn't like the consequences I got. You know what? It's a lot easier to stay on top of my grades and do what I need to do and to be successful. And then they get that, like, kind of like I call it, that little punch in the gut. And then they just learn from it. You know, it's all a learning experience. So failure is success in progress. You know, and I teach math and I tell them it's okay to make mistakes, because that's where we're going to grow those dendrites and we're going to learn from it and just keep moving from there. So I hope you all understand what I mean by that. Clearly, I don't want them to fail all their classes, but sometimes certain kiddos just need that, oh, that's what's going to happen to me when I get an F. Okay. And so we just learn from that and grow from there. One of the last things that I want to talk about here, and I got my little Bitmoji there with my fingers crossed. We do tentatively have Catalina on the books for May 10th through the 12th. I believe that's a Monday through Wednesday. And we leave really early on that Monday morning and usually get back on that Wednesday evening around 6-ish in the evening. But fingers crossed that we get to go. Unfortunately, we couldn't go last year. So if we do get to go this year, it will be 7th and 8th graders going to Catalina, which will be a nice group. And these guys will have a blast. The approximate cost for this is about $325. But if you sign up with the foundation and make your payments through the foundation, you end up only paying $300 for Catalina, because the foundation will make up anything above the $300. So right now, fingers crossed that we're going to still be able to go to Catalina, and all this coronavirus, we will have a handle on by then, and we can be back and about with people. So that's my hope and prayer, is that we can make it to Catalina. We're going to wrap it up here with some information about our counselor, Mrs. Reichman. Hopefully you all know Mrs. Reichman. She's a really nice lady up in the office. She's here to help, support, and guide and help you as we embark on this journey of virtual learning. Her specialty is academics, social emotional needs, and career readiness. And so she's available from 7:30 to 2:30 Monday through Friday.
Again, that's Mrs. Reichman. So if you need to email Mrs. Reichman or Mrs. Brazier, who's actually helping out with some counseling services this year, you can email them with their first name, Myra or Jennifer, _ don't forget the _, and then their last name. And again, this slideshow will be up on our Google Classrooms and our website, so you can go back to this and click on it as you need it. And that's how you can get some counseling resources there. Also, there's some counseling Google Classroom pages. So if you just go, add class, when you get to Google Classroom, there's a little plus sign up in the, right-hand corner, little plus sign. You click on that plus sign and you add the class. And here you can see the 7th grade code for the Google Classroom for counseling is A62H3FJ. You'll just type in that code and it'll put you automatically right into the Counseling Center's Google Classroom page. So you can message Ms. Reichman there as well or get resources. The bottom of this slide is really if you need more help than just our counselor at school. So like if you're really having mental health emergencies or suicide issues or crisis, or you're looking for an outside counselor, you can do that through caresolace.com. And I would encourage you also to talk to Ms. Reichman as well. But obviously, if you're having a certain emergency, you have to call 911 while you're dealing with it. But then after the fact, you might give the counselor a call and say, hey, this happened, we need your support with this, and just give her a heads up so she can help you the rest of the way. So I think that's the last slide, right, Ms. Cliff?
That is the last slide. So thank you guys for hanging in there with us, even through the technology glitches. I feel like this year we really need to extend patience, kindness, and grace to everybody, because we know things are different at everybody's household. And I'm looking forward to meeting your kiddos on Thursday. And this is going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year.
It is. I'm looking forward to meeting all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, and have a good evening. And here's to a good 2021 school year.